Hello, everybody. This is going to be a talking video, which is a little something different for me. Um, Not much been going on the last week or so, and I think it's time for an update on what's going on here. So, besides going our usual grocery shopping, not much has been going on, other than me trying to get a visa. So, in trying to do some research, I was on, obviously, YouTube to a number of different people's vlogs about how to get a visa. 13A in particular was the Balikbayan visa, being married to a Filipino. So I went to a couple of websites promoted by the Philippines, which is there's a retirement website to help retirees, and that's good, I guess, for the retirement visa, not necessarily the 13A. So when I finally got through the immigration.gov website, I did pull off an application, a consolidated general application form for immigrant visa, along with instructions, general instructions, and a checklist of 8 items required. Some of the stuff that I was looking at was never covered by any of the visa blogs that I saw. Most pointedly was the medical that was required: chest x-ray, your typical blood test, urine analysis, stool sample. Nobody ever mentioned that you needed any of that. Not that it's a big deal. It's time for me to have my yearly physical, which I do when I come back to the States. And I had one before I went to the Philippines last year. So in any case, I've have my appointment next week for the doctor's appointment, but in the meantime I've had all the other tests done. So again, none of that was mentioned, other than the instructions that I got when I downloaded everything. So the instruction form, which is the conversion to a non-quota immigrant visa by marriage, which is anybody that's done this will know it's a probationary visa, which then has to be transferred into a permanent visa. I guess I'll deal with that once if I get the probationary one. So I looked on their website too, by the way, and I saw that there was well over 100 people that had gotten their visas, 13A visa, in the month of May, and we're not even done through the month yet. So there seems to be a fair number of people getting their visas right now. Anyway, so I just wanted to go over some of the general instructions that were required when I printed off my form, which was a 2-page form, which initially I printed off in a letter format until I started reading the directions, and it says it needs to be in a legal size, hence the legal size documents. It also states that you need to have it in capital letters, and no line is to be left unfilled. So if you didn't have an answer to it, you just put NA, and there were none of them. There were quite a few of those actually that I had to put NA to. Hopefully that's not an issue, but the good news is I'm not submitting these 3 pages, because I got some additional information later on from the embassy in the US with some better directions, and I'll go over those as well. So I just thought I'd let you know the first thing you need is a joint letter, according to this document, the consolidated general application form. A joint letter requested addressed to the commissioner by the applicant and the petitioning Filipino spouse. And it doesn't say what the letter needs to be, but obviously it's a request for the 13A and why you need one, apparently. The accomplished filled out form, your marriage certificate or marriage contract, your birth certificate, a certified true copy, certificate of a Filipino citizen or Filipino spouse, the photocopy of your passport, the bio page and latest admission and valid authorized stay, a National Bureau of Investigation clearance if application is filed 6 months or more from the date of your first arrival. I have no idea what that means. I do know what it means to have a BNI clearance, but the rest of that is over my head as far as the date of first arrival in the Philippines. I think this was geared towards people that were already in the Philippines, perhaps, which is why I continued to pursue checking out the websites as I went, because it also is required a BI clearance certificate, which again didn't realize I would need to get the visa. Makes sense in thinking about it, but again, I'm not sure that anybody ever mentioned that. Original certified true copy from the Bureau of Quarantine Medical Clearance. So that's the checklist. The checklist needs to be two original copies. The first copy would be submitted together with all your documents pertaining to this application, and the second copy intended for the Alien Certificate of Registration Identity Card, which is the ACR I-Card, which is the BNI clearance. Let's see, what else? They need to be filed in the order that they are on the checklist, and it needs to be compiled in a legal size folder. So not only do you need legal size paper, you need a legal size folder to submit it in, which again makes sense. And it shall be submitted within the prescribed period, which again makes no sense to me. I'm not sure what this prescribed period would be, but moving on. All sworn statements or affidavits must be original and duly notarized. There is a place for a certification that that has been signed by the receiving office. Again, I think this was intended for somebody that was in the Philippines already. And the original passport of the applicant must be submitted to the central receiving office. Essentially meaning you need to bring your passport with you when you submit this. If the application is filed by an authorized representative, third party, there's a set of additional instructions. All foreign documents must be original and authenticated by the Philippine Foreign Service, which would be great if I was in the Philippines, because we got married in the United States, so somehow they would have to authenticate that. But we're not, we're in the States, so again, my first concern after filling out this form was, what do I do about the BNI clearance? So I downloaded some additional instructions on how to file for your voluntary application for an alien certificate of registration identity card. Again, 2 pages with a place for to be signed and authenticated by the registration officer. Again, for someone that's already in the Philippines, that would, obviously help. Checklist was a letter addressed to the commissioner through the chief of the Alien Registration Division, stating the purpose for the application. So, a couple of letters. The application form, the photocopy of a passport, and let's see, a photocopy of your ID card, a photocopy of your marriage certificate or birth certificate for Balakbayan admission, and original paperwork based on the ACR, if applicable. So yeah, I filled all that in. And then, in communicating with a number of different agencies with emails asking a number of different questions about how to complete all this stuff, I did manage to get a response back finally with some clarification on a number of items through the American Embassy. So they were very helpful. It was the Filipino Embassy in America, Washington, which for the Eastern Seaboard, I think that's the closest one, unless I want to go to California. So anyway, what they sent me was a lot more clarified information, a little more readable for me as far as what was necessary. And you can mail it. You have to mail it in a legal size envelope with a return envelope with prepaid postage. I needed 4 identical colored photos, 2-inch by 2-inch, with the attached to the application form, and it had to have your name printed and signed on the photos. Let's see, the visa fee, $150, non-refundable. I think the application fee, I think I had that somewhere for if you were in the Philippines, it was a little bit more than that, I think, but in any case, doesn't matter. The visa application cover info page, which is simply a page showing your name, address, and telephone number. 2 sets of the following documents: a set of original documents arranged in one folder, and 2 sets of photocopies arranged in one folder. Immigrant visa form, typed or printed in black or blue. The good thing is I was able to type it online too, so that was, if you have Adobe Reader, Writer, you can fill it out online. So that was good. Saved me from handwriting and all, after I've already done it twice. So the third time was nice to be able to type it in. The documentary evidence to prove the spouse's Philippine citizenship, which is pretty easy to do, original and a photocopy. Philippine passport of the Filipino spouse and birth certificate. A marriage certificate issued by the Philippine Statistics Authority, which we don't have, or issued by the Philippine Embassy or Consulate if married outside the Philippines. So that's something we'll have to get taken care of by the Philippine Embassy. We're probably going to go there at some point, but for now we're not sure just exactly how we're going to do it. We may mail it. I've got to travel up the coast in a couple months anyway, so we may stop in on our way up and on our way back. Again, a notarized letter signed by the Filipino spouse on our intention to permanently reside in the Philippines, and a medical examination report, which is what I was talking about. Nobody has mentioned that. Again, not a big deal, but something that's apparently required. And a certificate of no police record from your place of residence of applicant. So I've got to go to the police department. Have yet to do that, but it's next on my list for next week to get some kind of certificate. Maybe have them run a background check on me or whatever. chest x-rays and a CD, preferably. So when I went and had my chest x-rays, I asked them for a CD, which they were happy to provide. So again, 1 original and 2 photocopies of each evidence of sound financial status, proof of real property or investments, bank certification, pension, notarized, whatever, showing that we are financially sound, or information on who's going to be taking care of you when you get to the Philippines. So I thought this, what I got from American or Filipino embassy was pretty precise, and it was exactly what I was looking for, actually. So I have a form that needs to be filled out by my doctor, and I've filled out the other 2 forms. I'm gonna glue on my photos that I took, and like I said, there's a place for me to get it notarized by somebody local, and then once it's notarized by a notary public here in Florida, I can send it up to Washington, to the embassy, and have them examine everything and make sure it's in good order. That's why I may stop in on our way up through and make sure that everything's correct. So we went out and had to buy some legal size paper, which I didn't have, and I didn't really like the idea of having to buy 500 sheets of paper or whatever it was, a whole ream of paper. Maybe that's only 100 sheets, but whatever. So I'm using it for whatever I'm printing these days. Then I had to buy some legal size manila folders, just the usual, and an envelope to mail it, a legal size envelope, which I can get from the post office. I think they have legal size, but I bought one anyway, a padded envelope to put everything in, including the return postage and my CD of my chest x-rays. So anyway, I thought I would just relay my experiences of how to go about getting the 13A visa. Like most of the things associated with the Philippines, it depends on what agency you talk to, what you need for information, and what agency you might talk to. You know, I guess you gotta ask the right questions. Because if I tried to fill out the other 4 pages and I wasn't even sure where to send them, other than to the Philippines, which that would take 6 weeks just to get it there. So it was nice that I ended up hearing back from the Philippine embassy here in the States. So I guess that's my tale of woe for now. Hope everybody has a great day. Memorial Day, I think, is coming up in a couple days. So I don't think the Philippines probably celebrate that, but everybody here in the States will. All right. Have a good day. Oh yeah, while I'm ranting on, I happened to notice that the battery when I started was at 93%, I think, and now it's in the red, maybe 2%, 3%, so it's liable to shut off at any moment. That's the other thing. When I was doing my GoPro research, nobody ever mentioned how the battery heats up and the GoPro will shut off, or that the battery life is minimal at best. So yeah, it's really weird how that happens. Everybody loves to get into the GoPro thing, and then we find out that they overheat and the battery doesn't last. So you always have to keep at least one spare battery with you, which I try to do. I have 4 total, and so there we go. I think that's the end of my ranting for now. Have a good day, good evening, and good morning, whatever time it is that you're watching this, and I'll talk to you again soon.